When you face the fire as closely as you do, does it feel like an energy, an entity? Does it feel like God? Does it feel like the devil?
It's always mesmerizing. But this fire, the first 2 days was just something like I'd only seen maybe a couple times in my career. Hurricane force winds, but everything's on fire.
Hello, Brent.
Hi.
Thank you so much for taking time out of what has been a crazy schedule. I know, fighting this fire, you must be exhausted.
I've caught up on some sleep finally.
Yeah.
It's been about 12 days now. Well, actually, it's day 14 of the fire. So we did start getting some sleep finally instead of just taking little naps.
And you're a battalion chief and you're from Sacramento, is that correct?
Yeah, I work for Sacramento Communications, but I am able to work in the South down at our Southern Operations Center, so closer to home because
Right.
I'm out of Oceanside.
So it sounds like a really big responsibility being a battalion chief. How many men do you have working with you? Or?
Well, it's more of a bigger geographical area. So I used to work just in San Diego, and when I came to Sacramento, I'm able to travel to the different units like Riverside, San Bernardino, Fresno, and that's kind of how we break up the state with CAL FIRE.
Oh, I see. So I imagined it was like you had, I don't know, 10 trucks that you took into a fire or something. It's not that. A battalion chief is not that.
For me, it's not that. For
Right.
some battalion chiefs, it
Right.
is. When we say strike teams,
Yeah.
it's 5 engines, all alike, with one battalion chief or one leader. You know, we have 60 strike teams here in Malibu. Multiply that by 5. One with each leader, that's 60 battalion chiefs or a leader with them all. So that's kind of how you can think of strike teams. Yeah.
So we've just lived through this insane, dramatic experience here. I live in Malibu, and you were kind enough to give me a lot of great advice. Is this one of the greatest, biggest disaster fires you've ever worked on?
For sure. But you got to remember, you were about to say again.
Yeah.
That's another thing is like we were just here.
I know. I met you a month ago, right?
So it's not only the most disastrous and most destructive I've been to. I was just here a month ago when we met. So it's like, wow. Same people being affected by the same disaster in less than 2 months is it's hard for, I know you guys, the public that are in this area, and
it's terrifying,
right?
It's terrifying.
It's gotta be.
And that's why I'm sitting here talking to you, because I want to learn more about fires, because us sitting in our homes, we really don't know exactly what to do.
Right.
I mean, first of all, is this the new norm for California? I mean, because I love California, but I don't know how much more of this I can take.
I've definitely seen fires become the new norm.
How much do you think climate change is to blame here? Is it a part, all of it? I mean,
I don't know. I can't put my finger on exactly how much it is to blame, but I just know when I started my career, our large fires were, in the tens of thousands of acres, and now our large fires are into hundreds of thousands of acres, and that's more common.
wow.
So climate change definitely is real. How much it affects, I don't know for sure, but there is a change from when I started 23 years ago.
Wow.
Do I call it the norm for everyone in California? I don't think so. We're getting smarter. We're getting better technology, with defensible space, with Zone Zero, new techniques on how to protect your home. This is just a one-off conflagration, devastation. It happened.
Big, huge. I mean, you took me around the sites yesterday, and I don't know quite what to say. I mean, the Palisades, the PCH, it's like a movie or something. It is so intense. It's absolutely tragic. Absolutely. I mean, people are talking about the fact you needed, more water or more this or more that. With those winds, was it really possible to slow this thing up? Or
I don't think so. Obviously it would have helped a little bit, more water, more engines, but I've seen these winds before, and they're going to blow that fire to the ocean. unless the winds die off or they die down. And that's the 3 times that I have seen it. That's the only thing that let us get a handle on the fire.
Right.
And when it did get to the ocean, that was the only time it went out during the winds. As you saw on PCH, it burned the houses on PCH.
Yeah.
It burned the brush that grew out of the sand.
Yeah.
And it got to the water's edge, and that was the only thing that stopped it. For the rest of the fire, the winds died down, and we were actually able to put the fire out in those areas. But with winds like that, it's going to go to the Pacific and burn everything in its way.
Yeah. I mean, I think you guys are incredibly courageous. Did you feel a lot of fear or?
Yeah, for sure on this fire. A lot of fear because the control we normally have wasn't there. Most fires we know where to be, what we're going to do, how to fight it. These we were just making sure we weren't in a bad situation and having our exits or escape routes cut off.
Do you pray before?
Yeah. I always say a little prayer.
Before you go in?
Sometimes I forget because everything's, going, adrenaline's. But I try to when I can. Yes, and I surely have said a few on this fire for sure.
Yes. So what are actually the status of the fires right now?
So right now the fires have been out, no smoke or fire for over 7 days. They've held within their perimeter. There's been no growth. Firefighters have just been getting in there and doing the work of making sure there's no hot spots, no hidden fires, completely extinguishing these fires so that when we leave, there's no chance of a reignition or anything like that.
Can you explain containment to me, Brent? Because I don't really understand. When I hear these numbers on the news, I'm like, what does this mean? It's like...
Yeah, great question. The containment question. It's a little misleading. So when we say, it's only 15% contained, the next question people want to know is, where's the other 85% burning? Well, that's not always the case. Like on this fire, I think when we hit 17%, I had not seen a smoke or flame anywhere on this fire. What that means is there's 17% of the fire we feel comfortable pulling everyone off and walking away and knowing another fire will not reignite, no fire will jump our fire line. That's what containment is. So at that point, the fire was out, but we weren't comfortable because we didn't have finished fire line around the other 85%. We only had that 15% where we had bulldozer line, hand crews had cut it out. We had put water on it for days, and we had crews go in and dig up the earth and make sure there was no heat underneath. The other 85% of the fire had not had that done yet. Even though we put the fire out, still a lot of heat, still a lot of work to be done. So we call that contained.
You've got to get it all taken care of before the winds come back because they could ignite them again or?
Well, yeah, with wildfire, even though you put it out and you stop it and you hold it within its perimeter, it still has a lot of heat in the middle of the fire, on the edge of the fire. And that's what you got to make sure is out because it's eventually going to come to the surface, especially if you have winds that are dry and they have the potential to blow those embers over your established fire line that you already have. So that's why we're not leaving till these wind events are over. We're going to make sure the fire's 100% completely out. And then
Thank you.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. And then we're also mobilizing a new team to come down and set up for erosion control. We know rains are going to be coming.
Yeah.
And so
landslides, right?
We take that just as serious as the fire.
I have to say, like seeing all those trucks on Zuma Beach, I don't know, it was almost like really emotional for me that so many people would come from around the country. I mean, where were all these men and women from?
All over California. We have a 3-page list of departments from California. And then a lot of the West Coast states, Colorado, Oregon, Washington, Idaho, Arizona. And then we had British Columbia up in Canada come down. And we also had the bomberos from Mexico come up and help us.
I want to clap right now.
And I can't forget the Israeli soldiers also came over and helped us for a time too. So this is a worldwide collaboration.
And you could feel it. When I would drive down that road and see them all, it was almost like a state of grace. I don't know. I've never felt so much humbleness and gratitude in my entire life. I think you guys are total heroes. I mean, what is it like to fight a fire like this? You're putting your lives on the line, right?
Yeah, a fire like this, especially the first 2 days, is you got to be careful. when I showed up, I thought, this is the kind of fire we kill firefighters on.
Oh.
And I know there's probably going to be some homeowners that didn't get out of the way of this fire because of how fast, how erratic, how just insane these conditions were. It has in the past caught firefighters off guard. So, yeah, those first 2.5 days of operating were really touch and go, really checking on your partner, really making sure, the crews were doing okay.
So you have like partners in the fires?
Yeah. There's accountability,
Right.
so you're not just kind of out there on your own. And if you don't come back, no one notices. Everyone's got radios to kind of check on each other. Hey, I'm headed up here. I'm going over there. So
You're kind of taking your life into your own hands. What makes a man become a firefighter? Or do you have female firefighters? Yeah.
we do have female firefighters. For me, it's just helping people. As cliche as that sounds.
You made this fire much better for me because you gave me a lot of great advice, so I was very grateful.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know I was doing that. I was just trying to, tell you what I knew.
Yeah.
And I like doing that. I
Yeah.
love it.
Give me the ABCD of what I should do next fire.
Yeah.
What's the plan for us?
So next fire, when these conditions are like this.
I mean, when I say next fire, my heart is like.
So how about next conditions like this?
Yeah.
Next conditions, because that's what catches people is we get these wind events, and we get these wind events all the time. Well, this is just a great example of this one was extremely powerful. Have some sort of information always available to you. And what I mean by that, have your apps that you use to monitor your area. Next door, there's a whole bunch of ways people communicate, right, with apps. The news, television, radio. Just stay informed on those days.
Yeah.
It's not like it's all the time, but when it happens, stay informed, because as soon as it starts, you want to know.
You want to get out before there's a
Yeah.
rush of traffic.
Yeah, just being informed on those days, you're already better off starting out like that.
And the second thing you were telling me yesterday when we were driving around was it's really important as a family to have a plan. Have your stuff packed.
And do it all before
Right.
the emergency. In this one, it was pretty obvious. People didn't have a lot of time to come up with a plan. But this is a great reminder. Hey, sit down with your family now. Come up with a plan. Where are we going? How are we getting there? Sit down and think about what you would take in an emergency like this and get it together in a bag and have it ready. And don't forget your animals.
Yeah.
Food for them. If you have large animals, make that plan ahead of time, because it is chaos.
I know.
When the emergency arises, the wildfire comes through, have that all figured out before.
Yeah. As soon as I had a plan, as soon as I could see the roads were, open, I did actually calm down. So I think that's really
You
important.
knew where you're going. You had a plan. It wasn't kind of running around like a chicken with your head cut
Yeah.
off,
Had my bag by the door,
your bag, your plan, and your
gas in the tank.
There you go.
Yeah. And
There you go.
I think the thing I wasn't sure of was, like, at what point should I go? Should I wait till it's a mandatory evacuation?
In your situation, I was asking you, where's the smoke going? Is it blowing into your neighborhood? Because that's a good sign of where the fire wants to go.
Follow the smoke.
Right. But you were telling me you could see it down the coast, right, going out into the ocean. And to me, that was telling me, okay, that's going to blow it to the ocean, not up towards you. If you would have said, I'm looking down the coast and I got smoke billowing right towards me or on me right now, I'd be like, that's when it's coming your way. As far as the evacuation orders and warnings go, if it's going to take you a while to evacuate, meaning there's a lot of stuff to gather, you have elderly people you have to move, large animals, just whatever. If you're delayed in doing all that, start when you get the warning, because when it becomes an order, that means now it's time to go. So the warning is the lesser. That's the one you see in yellow.
Yeah, right.
And the order is red.
Okay, when it goes to red, go as soon as you can, right?
I would.
But you've got about 2 hours before the fire's going to kind of...
That's on a warning.
Okay.
If that makes sense. So the warning, it's still hours away, according to us.
Yeah. Because we've seen these fires jump, like in the Woolsey fire. I know when the Kenneth fire was lit, that got me really nervous, because sometimes they come across from the valley.
And this is perfect example of what we're talking about, being informed.
Mm.
You knew that right when it started, about the time I knew it.
Yeah.
But if you're sitting at home, not worried about that, not looking to be informed, and the Kenneth fire grows and runs at your house,
Mm-hmm.
and now you hear a police officer driving up down your street evacuating you, that's too late. You're caught behind the 8 ball.
Mm.
But you were informed because this fire, the Palisades fire was going on. You had things going on, so you got to find out about the Kenneth, and you knew
Mm-hmm.
it was there.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't surprise you. It didn't sneak up on you
Mm-hmm.
and not give you any time to do it. So that's a perfect example
Okay,
of staying informed.
Yeah. Is there anything we can do to prevent this happening again as a community?
There's lots of things you can do, starting with defensible space.
You don't want any trees or bushes.
Right.
the-
Yeah, you don't want any dead or dying brush or grass near your home. And we're finding that zone 0 is very important, to have 0 combustibles, because I've seen a smoldering wooden gate eventually make it to the house and burn it down.
Right.
Whereas if you would just have no combustibles
Mm-hmm.
from your walls, your house 5 feet out,
Mm-hmm.
that house would still be standing. Gutters are clean. That's home hardening. All this stuff I'm talking about, you can go to readyforwildfire.org,
Okay.
and it takes a deep dive into all the phases of wildfire, the pre-planning, the defensible space, the home hardening, and it has all the guides to where you can go find specialized vents. It has all the new building materials that are approved as fire resistant.
Because there was that one house yesterday when we were driving around the Palisades. Everything had burned all around it. And you were really looking at it. You seemed really fascinated by
Yeah.
it. And you were saying, I think they've done a number of things to...
I think they'd be great people to talk to, because there was wood siding that obviously wasn't wood, because it took direct flame impingement on it. And so did their deck in the back. And I was looking at it, and it was fine as well. It took a lot of heat. There was also a concrete wall, which obviously concrete does very well. It had a rain barrel, I think, rain catcher barrel that melted right next to it, was fine. So those people we can learn a lot from, you know.
And everybody's talking about Caruso. Somehow he managed to defend his beautiful shopping mall.
You know, there are all these companies that, you know, will provide defense during these wildland fires, and they do a very good job. So that's another option of looking into things to do.
Do we know how these fires actually started yet?
I still don't know.
When you guys do the forensic, 99% of the time, you actually find out how the fire was started. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah, we have really good investigators. It may take a long time, but they're going to figure it out. They're very methodical in their way. I have full faith they're going to get to the bottom of this and find out the reason.
How was this as a fire personally for you? Did you have any moments during this fire when you thought, oh my God, this is really, really bad or dangerous for you personally or for your men? Or did you, I don't know, did you witness any miracles? What are your experiences?
Yeah. The first, 2.5 days definitely was like, oh my God, I hope everyone's safe, because I could see the fire activity. And then that first day when I drove up into it, where the guy told me his dogs were.
This was a guy who lost his dogs, was it?
His dogs were at home. And so I got his address and I drove up there, and the fire was still kind of like in the town of the Palisades. So I saw I had a little bit of time, pulled in his driveway, and, I remember the last thing he told me was this house was really secure. And on a fire engine, I have things that can get into houses easily, but in my pickup truck, it was just like a tripod, so
Oh, no.
anyways, I could hear the dogs in there barking.
Oh.
I knew we didn't have much time. I didn't want to hang out up there too long, so I just went around the house. I made sure there wasn't a window I could get in or anything. There wasn't. So with the shovel, went back to the front door and beat that thing in until I got in.
Oh,
and
bless you.
That probably scared the dogs just as much as what was going on, because that was loud.
Wow.
And a lot of glass breaking and stuff. But I got in. I got in, and they were hiding under the bed. And that's when the electricity went out. And that's when I knew it was like time to go. So I was able to get one dog to come with me, and the other one didn't want anything to do with me. And so
you have those six senses as a fireman. This is
yes,
the time to go.
Head on a swivel. I'm looking at the dogs. I'm looking down the street. I'm seeing things blow by me that...
Because that's life or death for you, right?
For sure.
Those instincts.
For sure. And in driving up there, I'm trained to look for my escape route and my safety zone. So as I'm driving up there, I was going through that parking lot of cars on Sunset, and I knew I could easily get trapped up there. So I didn't want to leave it too long to wait for the fire. So
calculated risk.
Right. So one dog went running off. I wasn't able to get that dog. I was able to get one dog in the truck, and we were out of there.
Wow.
And so, yeah, the miracle would be, I didn't think anyone would find that dog alive, and it was found alive like 5 days later.
Oh, bless.
Because I went back to that area that night, and all the houses, except for like one or two, had burned down. Actually, they were on fire when I got back at like midnight that night.
You guys are so sweet. Are you guys just naturally kind people? Or
it's just anything we can do at this point. You know, we can't bring a house back. We can't rebuild your house. But whatever we can do to help right now, that's what we're here for.
Ease the blow a little bit.
Yeah. Even if it's just you want to talk to me, you want to yell at me, or, whatever. I'm here. Yeah, blame me. I'm here. I'm here for it.
Do you
I
think
understand.
Sometimes people turn the firefighters into villains rather than heroes?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I've heard some things before in the past where maybe that was the case, but
people are complaining. I've heard people complaining in my neck of the woods. They were saying there weren't enough firefighters at the top end of the fire in the Palisades. On my end, I don't have to deal with all that because I just get told to go to the fire and do what I can and fight it. What happens at the top end is to be figured out. But as far as me, I'm more boots on the ground, on the fire line, in the fire. Yeah, I loved learning that from you yesterday because I asked you about the hydrants. I asked you about if you had to have more men. And you said as a firefighter, you're not thinking like that. You're just thinking in the moment, what do I do to put this?
Right. If our hydrants would have went dry, it would have been like, oh my gosh, okay, what are we doing to fix it right now? That's all I got to worry about. I've got a house on fire. I've got things on fire. I've got my
people
crew
to save.
I've got my crew with me, people to think about to save. What's next? Luckily, where we were, we had water. So
because people are really talking about this reservoir. They seem really angry about the fact the reservoir. Would that have helped you guys?
I have no idea.
Right.
I haven't able to even look at that high of a level.
Yeah.
I saw our neighborhood.
Yeah.
One structure was destroyed. The rest were saved. I thought they did a very good job with the conditions. But yeah, if I'm a resident, I'm taking a deep dive into everything, and I totally understand. I would.
And people really are. People are obviously very angry, very upset, very hurt, very frightened, shocked. And there's a lot of finger pointing going on out there. Where's the silver lining? Have you seen communities go through disasters like that and then somehow there's been a healing? What can we do?
Yeah, for sure. I've never been on a fire with so much support from everyone. The food, the drinks were so well taken care of. And I think as long as that's translating to the community and to the people that lost their homes.
So we need to give a lot of love right now.
Take care of each other. Yeah. And I've seen that, and it's kind of like how we were after 9/11, everyone just kind of came together. It didn't matter for a long time what your opinions or thoughts were. I was going to help you no matter what.
Yeah.
And that is a beautiful thing.
That is the thing that has come out of this for me. Like the way you've helped me. Yeah. And then I had evacuees to my house and I'm making new friends. And you know what? The fact they evacuated to my house, it helped me so much. It kept me calm.
Yeah, it's just the community just coming together is such a great thing because, again, we get to put aside all the differences, whatever politics, even the language barrier with firefighters. We have the same goal. So with the bomberos from Mexico, if I didn't know Spanish, they still knew, hey, our job here is to save lives, save property, and save the environment. Those don't ever change, no matter what language you're speaking. With that being said, the community needs to come together the same way. And it's, what do you need?
Right now, right?
What do you need?
Mm-hmm.
I'm here for you.
Oh,
That's it.
that's beautiful.
That's the beauty that can come out of
And
this.
I really feel that
Yeah.
meeting you, meeting some of your guys. I really feel your open-heartedness and your kindness and the fact you're really here for us. It's actually very
Good.
touching.
Good. That's what I
Yeah.
love about this job.
So appreciated.
Honestly, that's what I
so
love about this
appreciated.
job.
Yeah.
You know?
So when you witness these tragic situations, do you have nightmares? Do you see guys suffering from PTSD? Is there much support? I mean, do you have therapy for this kind of thing, or?
Yeah, well, I don't have nightmares, and I found that petting dogs helps me. I didn't know it. I just happened to be standing by a dog at the Ventura fires, and I pet it, and I felt so different afterwards. It was the weirdest thing. So I pet every dog now
Oh,
that I
wow.
see when I'm at a fire. But yeah, PTSD is definitely a real thing for us firefighters. And over the years, the help has gotten a lot better because we've come to recognize it more.
Right.
Whereas before we used to just kind of push it down, and that was just part of the job. So it's nice to see that there is help out there.
What kind of help? Is it therapy, or
there's-
is it
Absolutely. There's therapy. There's camps you can go to for a week.
where you'll
There's-
get support?
Where you get support. There's just a lot more resources than
Okay.
before.
And maybe you need some more like emotional support dogs.
I love them.
You can borrow my dog anytime.
I think that's how
Take
we
him
met.
around.
I wouldn't stop petting
That's right.
Fred.
We met
'Cause
because you kept petting Fred.
I don't know what it is. I'm seriously lighter, happier, something just from petting a dog.
Animals.
I never would have thought that.
Well, this is so wonderful, Brent. You've given me like such an amazing, opportunity to learn about fires. I'm really keen to spread any information or any knowledge about what to do, during these fires, or what we can do ahead of the fires. So I hope we're going to talk many, many times again. I know my community in Malibu really appreciate you guys and any information you can give us.
Awesome. And that's what we're here for.
Thank you.
So I hope you and your audience members, learned something today, because that's ultimately what we want.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.